Many thanks for joining us. Now, in our first story, it has emerged that the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, MIIF, has spent $12 million on the suspended Ejapa royalties transaction. Now, under the transaction, a private company was incorporated to manage 75% of Ghana's royalty inflow from 12 gold mining companies, with shares of the company floated on the London Stock Exchange as average inflows were pegged at 650 million cedis. Now, a probe by the Office of the Special Prosecutor got government to halt the transaction, but CEO of MIIF, Edward Nanaya Kranting, says some expenses have already been incurred.
In respect to Ejapa, which is a royalties company and fully owned by the Minerals Income Investment Fund, as honorable members are aware, this was put on hold. The main reason for Ejapa was to have the IPO done, both in England and Ghana. But for quite a number of factors or reasons, the president advised that this be put on hold. So Ejapa is on hold at the moment. We are not proceeding as of now. With regards to...
no, a follow-up to that.
Yes.
Has the MIF made any investment or no expenses in relation to the setup of the Ejapa?
Yes, Honorable Chair. Definitely, because this was an IPO, and as honorable members are aware, for every IPO, consultants, etc. come in. The establishment of an office in the United Kingdom and also in Ghana, etc., come into place. So there have been expenses. The whole idea was for MIF to be reimbursed after the IPO. But as the IPO is now suspended, until that suspension is lifted, we can't move on with Ejapa.
How much have you spent so far in relation to Ejapa?
I'll get the exact figure, but it should be circa, should be around 12 million. 12 million? Yes.
Dollars?
$12 million, right? $12 million.
Okay.
Yes.
We say in Parliament now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has attributed a 1.9 billion cedis loss in 2021 to the depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies. Now, Managing Director Samuel Dubik Mahama, who appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, indicated that the company is working on reducing losses through efficient revenue collection.
The Auditor General's report revealed that the power distributor generated a profit of 822 million cedis in 2020. In 2021, however, the company recorded a loss of 1.9 billion cedis, raising concerns from the Public Accounts Committee. Managing Director Samuel Dubik Mahama blamed the situation on the cedi depreciation.
The Electricity Company of Ghana mostly buys the electricity it sells in dollars, then sells in cedis, then has to go back and pay in dollars. The forex losses alone for the year is something that we have to look at in terms of our business. Forex losses is what is culminating for over 80% of the losses that you are seeing, Mr. Chair.
He noted that the company is actively working on enhancing its financial performance.
ECG sells electricity.
Yes.
So we'll do our best to sell enough, create the generative market to capture what we can sell, to reduce our commercial losses to the best of our ability, so we see how we can close that gap.
Officials of the National Lottery Authority also appeared before the committee. The authority has been cited for a single source procurement infraction involving the purchase of devices worth over 20 million cedis. Years after the purchase, the devices are almost obsolete without being deployed due to technical difficulties of compatibility.
In any case, the auditors have established that the justification that you have given doesn't sit well with the law. Because you cannot say that you are doing that under agency only when you receive the items and you store them in your warehouse. Let us be serious. I think that some of these issues should be looked at very well.
That's why we've taken steps to remedy the situation and to recover fully the taxpayers' investment. Thank you.
Chairman, it's not about remedy, it's about you breaching the law. That's what we are talking about. If everybody will breach a law and remedy it and go free, how are we going to ensure that there's value for money, especially when it comes to procurement issues?
Meanwhile, energy analyst and chief executive officer of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, says the power distributors cannot blame all its losses on the depreciation of the city. He says they can increase revenue collection by modernizing their methods.
Apart from the commercial loss, we do have technical losses. These are so huge. And that's how come I said 80% cannot come from only exchange losses. If ECG were to put their acts together to minimize the commercial losses and the technical losses, especially the technical losses, because I think the commercial losses, they are doing quite well by going cashless. For instance, why at this moment in time we still have postpaid meters? And you'll be surprised that some customers actually need their meters to be replaced by prepaid meters. We have something called foolproof smart prepaid meter system. You know, prepaid meters that are robust and cannot be interfered with. Those things are what is needed. If you're able to do some of these things, I think we'll be able to minimize the losses. The other component that I think ECG can do better is what I always recommend, that they should have something called FIT. What I call FIT is a fast intervention team. You know, ECG is a commercial entity and they should treat it as such. If we don't treat it as such, we're going to have ourselves to blame because they interface so much with money. And so if their meters or other faults are being reported and it takes days and sometimes weeks to be responded to, they are bound to be losses. So I believe while I commend them for all this that they are doing, if they factor in some of this things that I talked about, I believe it will help to beef up the revenue stream.
Now, there was drama in Parliament yesterday when MP for Asin Central Kennedy Japan was seen in an altercation with colleague MP for English Yaman from Sylvester Tete. It was unclear the cause of the tension between the two legislators, but it took the intervention of Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Fenyomaking to bring peace between them.
Unknown what caused near exchanges, Sylvester Tete, the MP for Botiano English Amanfrom, attempted to exchange greetings with Kennedy Japan, the Member of Parliament for Asin Central constituency, upon the latest entrance into the chamber. The Asin Central MP, Kennedy Japan, was visibly displeased with the gesture. The Maverick MP was seen verbally berating his colleague MP and emphatically instructed him to move away. Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Fenyomaking had to whisk away Sylvester Tete to defuse the brewing tension and prevent the situation from escalating into a full-blown brawl. Moments thereafter, the Deputy Majority Leader mediated a peace pact with the two MPs ensuring a truce. Meanwhile, minority MPs have described an acute water shortage that has hit the Tamale metropolis and its environs as a national security threat.
Almost all the Tamale water projects have suffered delays. I do know that government came in with some 272 million euro assurance that there will be further development on the Biowater International Limited water project, which was at Dalong, and to move it to Yapi, so that access could be expanded even to affect areas like Damangu. Mr. Speaker, Tamale is fast growing and is considered one of the fastest growing cities in West Africa and is becoming a major problem for many of us members of parliament in that particular area.
A city like Tamale to run into water crisis is an issue that the Ministry for Water and Sanitation should take seriously. When there is water crisis in any community, it breaks down activities in the area. And I want to call on the ministry to, as a matter of urgency, to mobilize water tankers. I know Ghana Water Company has some tankers, and security agencies also have tankers. National security also have tankers. They should organize all these tankers to get water to public institutions, such as hospitals, because hospitals run on water. They need water to run hospitals. So if there are no water in the hospitals around Tamale, that is a problem.
Now, away from Parliament, a group of influential journalists, including sports presenters, will this morning stage a protest march against the Ghana Football Association, GFA, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports to demand accountability. Now, Ghana's early exit from the just-ended Africa Cup of Nations angered many Ghanaians who have called for the dismissal of the GFA president and the sports minister. The protest is being organized under the hashtag Save Ghana Football. On to some more stories now. The challenge of having chiefs stay off partisan politics appear greater a challenge than framers of the Constitution might have envisaged following yet another of such instances. But with a Supreme Court decision on the matter amidst a plethora of other such issues from the past, many are those who ask what should happen to the chief of Begro. Mawane Bata has been looking at the development.
The foremost cradle of power, yet distant from democratic authority. That's the relationship between chieftaincy and political power. The most recent confluence of such unique but very distinct institutions is the ongoing saga concerning the Ankobia Hene of the Begro traditional area. Bafo Redo Ejakuminta II has been dragged to the Echime Boakwa Traditional Council over comments believed to amount to engaging in partisan politics. The Begro chief openly endorsed John Mahama for the 2024 general elections.
Breaking the 8, Yajina Haka and Yapaye, Emasone, Emasochana, and Pascal Tambrao Subia. Oh, Tua!
But the development will not be the first in the Fourth Republic. Retired Supreme Court Judge Justice Clemens Honyenuga, ahead of the 2020 general elections, endorsed President Akufo-Addo.
It is our hope that with your vision and the gains made in your first term, Ghanaians may consider giving you another 4 years.
Interestingly, the Ochehene, an overlord of the Achim Ibuakwa Traditional Council, Osajefo Amwetia Oforipenyin II, who the Begro chief is to appear on his own, endorsed the sitting president Nana Akufo-Addo. So what does Ghana's constitution say about chiefs and politics? Article 276, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution states that a chief shall not take part in active politics, and any chief wishing to do so and seeking election to Parliament shall abdicate his stool or skin. The Supreme Court, in the case of Elom Kwame Goni versus the Attorney General, stated that it is unconstitutional for chiefs to endorse candidates or their party. Chiefs praising or lauding the policy of a candidate is a permissible endorsement. But here's the thing. All endorsements, bar that of the Begro chief, precede the Supreme Court's reaffirmation of the country's constitutional provisions. While some argue this may be the chance to test the laws, there are those who argue the current action is discriminatory.
Then they must be ready to ensure that they are consistent, because that in itself, that decision in itself, is something if you are not consistent with, then others will come at you, and that will lead to a denigration of the traditional council itself.
The Abuakwa Traditional Council is yet to sit on the matter. What is clear? All eyes will be on them come Monday, February 19.
A former Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto-Afriyie, has observed the only means of empowering and increasing the income of the local farmer is to introduce an import restriction on food products. Speaking at the launch of the KNUST Faculty of Agriculture's 70th anniversary, the former Kwadaso lawmaker said Ghana has the ability to produce more than it consumes with the right investments. In the bulletin, but let's move on, and they're entrusted with the lives of thousands, the senior high school boarding system, which has existed for years. But recent developments have sparked the conversation on the need for reforms, those that could be far-reaching to ensure the safety and protection of children.
It can be a nightmare to take your child to a boarding school and realize later that they're not being looked after properly. In some cases, it might lead to death, as has been the case in a number of schools. Unfortunately, accusations about neglect of children and complaints about the deteriorating duty of care for students in boarding schools has been all too rampant in the last few years. In May 2023, the death of a female student from St. Monica's Senior High School stoked controversy in the education sector. According to reports, the student was denied an exeat she sought from her house mistress to visit home for medical help. A similar situation occurred in the Dramana Ekenton Senior High School in February 2020, where a second-year male student died in his dormitory after he was reportedly denied exeat. In October 2017, another issue of delayed exeat reportedly caused the death of a student in Bogatanga Senior High School. And in March 2013, the death of a final-year student of Ifia Kobi Girls Senior High School was recorded under similar circumstances. These are only few amongst a number of widely reported cases and the not-so-popular ones. But nothing has triggered the conversation as much as the case of Ebri Girls.
Adena madam and one family bananko hospital and scientists and I'm Bole Bamboya. I have to drive away from Bole Bamboya, same family banko hospital. Hey!
In fact, healthcare has been the primary focus of the issues. And the complaints by parent-teacher associations over the commitment of school authorities in catering for the awards are beginning to escalate.
Hearing the stories in the news put me in panic mode most of the times, especially when you know that your child is in first year and this is the first time the child is leaving home to be in the care of someone you hardly know. If you have just one nurse taking care of over 1,000 students, it's a problem.
But are there really any protocols guiding healthcare towards students in boarding schools?
Our senior high schools have huge health and safety facilities deficits, in addition to protocols that are not written. It becomes very difficult.
Well, as the matter remains an issue of concern, the Ghana Education Service has finally broken silence a week since the latest incident. In a statement, they commiserated with the family of the late Ebri Girls student and listed out initiatives they claim would assure a safe and learning environment for students, including the deployment of a 9-member team of counselors to beef up the guidance and counseling department at the school. The service, however, remained tight-lipped on the way forward regarding health protocols in senior high schools. So then, what is the solution? Executive Director of think tank Africa Education Watch says the handling of health cases cannot be left to the discretion of teachers and school authorities. He's calling for clear-cut protocols.
We must have clear protocols for the establishing, the resourcing, the management of sick bays or infirmaries. We should also have protocols for the management of cases when they emerge in school.
And for some parents, contributions by the Parent Association to schools should be formalized. The suggestions seem laudable, deeming the recurrence of such death cases. But as to whether they will indeed be implemented, only time will tell. For now, internal investigations into the death of a Form 1 student at Ebri Girls Senior High School are still underway. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Of the 6 a.m. news right here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We'll go for a short break. We'll be back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.